Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We are on the road in the Sunshine State. And as you know, here on Wake Up Call and with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, we call Florida our second home. That is right. New York is our first. And up in New York, we have the Bearcat Breakroom with the Binghamton University Bearcats. We have an exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. And the break room has joined me on the road as we're down in Florida with Loren Cuomo, picture in picture from the Binghamton women's tennis team inside this 2025 season. Loren, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. And Loren, first and foremost, to kind of bring us back, I know you and I have had an opportunity to kind of discuss this, but let's echo it again here. How did you get started in the world of tennis?
So basically when I was about 8 years old, my mom started working at this club and it was a big tennis club. There was tennis every day. I was going there after school and one of the coaches there was like, "All right, it's time you pick up a racket." He was like, "You're going to be spending a lot of time here. You might as well learn how to play tennis." As I was kind of telling you before, I was definitely not on board. I was just a young girl and I was like, I don't want to play tennis. And he convinced me and I just started to play every day, met new friends. I was practicing with them every day and I really started to love it.
Yeah, and you had said to me his name's Charlie. And so Charlie had asked you to pick up a racket since you were there with your mom, you're going to be there anyways. When you first picked it up, your first thought.
Um, I don't know. Honestly, I'm gonna give you the honest answer. I know I picked it up and I was like, this is not the sport for me. I can't get the ball over the net. It's really hard. I don't know. I'm sure you've played tennis before. Trying to hit the tennis ball over the net when you're not great is really not fun. It's hard and it's really hard to rally back and forth. So, as I've been told from Charlie, I really was not feeling it. I wanted to stop. He had to bribe me with some candies for sure.
So, what got you comfortable? Because I know you were talking about being 10 years old when you and I had spoke and getting it over the net and like, okay, maybe I could do this or whatever. How did you fall in love with a sport that you used to have to be bribed to play?
So I think it really helps that I met friends. A lot of my other friends were starting to get into it more and they were playing. I was getting a little bit older, those 2 years, I guess. At 10 years old, I was a little bit more stable,
Yeah.
wanting to play and stuff. And I think that the biggest thing for me was that a lot of my closest friends were playing and we'd go out there and we'd practice together. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, and like you said, having those friendships and that connection, when you reflect on the fact that it wasn't an interest of yours. Charlie says pick up the racket, you pick it up, you're frustrated, can't get it over the net. You make some friends, y'all start playing together. When did it finally like click with you that hey, this can be my thing? Like I can go out onto a court and play a total stranger. I can, appreciate this beyond somebody telling me to do it or beyond a friend saying, let's go do this. When did tennis for you really stick? I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I think probably about a year after I was playing a little bit more consistently every day and stuff, that's when I kind of was like, okay, I'm getting a little good at this. I'm having a good time. I started to commit a little bit more to the practices, and when I was probably 12, that's when I started doing the traveling, going to New Jersey, Long Island, that's where a lot of the tournaments are. And I was playing in the tournaments, I was winning, and I was like, okay, like I like this. So I really did just stick with it. I think maybe winning a couple of matches really helped me, bring up the confidence.
Do you remember the first time you got it over the net? You talked about like from going from 8 to 10, just how mature you got in between those 2 years. So do you remember getting it over the net?
No, I'm not so sure I remember the first time I hit it over, but I'm sure I was doing a little jump and dance, happy that I finally got it over the net.
Do you still, Lauren, do you have those moments now as an adult, as a young adult? Do you have a moment where you get the ball over the net and something goes in your favor in a match? Do you have a little dance? Do you have a little is it an internal dance? Does it show itself on the outside? Everybody celebrates different. I want to know how you celebrate.
If you ask some of my teammates or some of the people that do come to the matches, I'm a very out there girl. If I hit a good shot or, sometimes a shank winner down the line, always always makes me happy. I'll definitely give a little smile out there, make a little comment. I feel like I'm always joking around a little on the court, even now.
I have to ask you this because I've seen it in professional tennis and I've been around collegiate tennis, and some people do and some people don't. Is there a purpose, a reason, and or an advantage to making noise every time somebody hits the ball? Because some people are silent and some
Yeah.
people sound like they're getting punched in the stomach. So, I mean, is there a competitive advantage or some type of release of air that helps with your power? Because I try to understand why we have the silent players and then we have the players that every single hit they're making a noise.
Yeah, so actually just speaking of this, I had one of my friends from home who doesn't play tennis come to one of the men's matches last weekend, and they were like, "What is going on with the noises and the grunts? Like no other sport is like that." And it is funny watching because everyone does do it completely different. Some people, you'll go out there and you'll play and they're grunting when they've already hit the ball and the ball's on the other side of the net. For
Yeah.
me, I'm like I'm not super loud, definitely grunting here and there. It definitely does help when you're hitting the ball to just like let out a little bit of air, keep you loose. I think there's different levels to it. Some people are louder. I'm not really sure if that helps them. Like even on my team, we have some people that grunt a little louder, some people who are quiet. So I think it just depends on the person.
Yeah.
I don't have the perfect answer for you though, because even I get confused sometimes.
Have you ever had someone that you've gone up against in singles or doubles that the way that they react verbally, the noises that they make, kind of like threw you for a second?
Oh yeah, for sure. Or even some of the let's goes or come ons after. Sometimes you're hearing like let's go in different languages and you're like, what language are you even speaking? Like tennis is definitely a very foreign sport. So you'll see everything on the tennis court.
Have you ever done anything to get inside someone's head? A grunt, a motion, a noise, your own let's go? Have you ever done anything and you kind of like saw that maybe got them a little bit, so you did it again?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think tennis is definitely very mental. So sometimes like if I see like my opponent's down or if they lost a couple of points in a row, throwing out like a big let's go after you win the game or just a good point always helps.
Yeah, I feel like I would say something that's like easily recognizable but has nothing to do with tennis. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I would have like a Paulie D moment. I'd put the ball up in the air and go, "Yeah, buddy," and then and then send it back or something like that. I just feel like you said, it's such a mental game, and you can get in someone's head playing this game, and just by simply like making a noise or saying something or something like that. So with it being such a mental game, and we know how important mental health and mental toughness is, and mental fortitude, how have you fortified your own mind to be able to play this sport as well as to live life?
Yeah, I think it's come with years and years of experience. It's really hard. I mean, in tennis, but just all sports in general. You can have a bad day, a good day. And I think that it's important to remember that, outside of the court and stuff, we're also people. So if you do have a bad day in tennis, you have to make sure that you're not letting that reflect, your day-to-day life. You're going to class, like you shouldn't be thinking about the tennis match that you played 3 weeks ago. And it's really important to put up like that kind of that shield of just, I am an athlete, but I'm also a student here. I have other friends. It's really good to just fall back on your friends, I feel too, because, as a small team, we're all pretty close and we all talk a lot. And it's just good because we all understand what we're going through, whether it's injuries, a bad tennis match, maybe you had a good day. Like you're just there to support your teammates and stuff. And I think that that's definitely one of the biggest things. We're not a team that has 30 people, so it's not like you have that many people to rely on. You want to just be there for the people that you see every day. You're in a small van with, you're traveling with.
Yeah, like you said, having a smaller roster in the sport of tennis, what does that do for the connectivity of the team?
Um, it's very, very different than any of the other teams. I feel like on a big team, you're kind of close with a couple of the people. Having a smaller roster has its pros and its cons, of course. I mean, we live together, we're girls, we fight, we go through things, but also at the end of the day, like it's a lot easier to forgive, forget when you do see each other every day and you know that on the court you put aside your issues, your problems, you're there to support each other because there's not many other people who are going to do it for you. So the person playing next to you, like that's your best friend for the next 2 hours, whether you're in a fight with them or not.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, when you're on a big team, there could be a couple of those relationships, but on a smaller team, it's more imperative and more important that you have that connectivity because there aren't a lot of people on the bus. So, what would you say to the culture of this women's tennis program? You talked about the fact that there was a coaching change recently, and I've gotten to speak with your head coach. So, what has the culture felt like, and how connected do you feel like this season's team really is specifically?
Yeah, I think honestly something that's really great is that we have been an all-time high this year. I think the confidence just throughout the team has been much higher than it has been in the past. We've been winning more matches. We're supporting each other more than we ever have. We got the new chants going, the new let's goes going before the match. We have our hype up songs we always play before we step out. It's tradition. You got to play those songs, and then you feel good going out onto the court. Um, I think that we've definitely just been cheering each other on a lot more, and we really want all of us to win, so our team wins, because that's another big difference with other sports is that, you know, it is individual. If I win and three other girls win, we win, but we're not doing it together, we're all on our own out there on the court, and we really want the person next to us to win because even if we win, who cares, The team's not winning as a whole, just if one person wins. So I think that we've really started to understand that, and we're really all just trying to push for each other to do the best that we possibly can out there. And I think that that's great, and I think the results have really been showing that this year.
You talk about winning and winning together, singles or doubles. If you had to choose, which one would you rather do?
Oh, me, I'm a doubles girl at heart. I
Yeah.
love playing doubles. I'm all over the net. I don't think there's a better feeling than, my partner hits a good serve and I'm at the net, hit a volley. We call it the 1-2 combo. It's our favorite. And I think it's more fun too, at least for me. You're on the court with somebody else. If you are down, like I was telling you before, like it is a roller coaster. If you're having a bad moment, you play a bad point, you do have someone else there to hold your hand for a little bit, tell you to get over it, play the next point. And I think that that's definitely why I'm a doubles girly. It's just way more fun to have someone right next to you.
And like you said, when you're playing in doubles and you have that opportunity with somebody right next to you, is there a certain scheming that you use? I mean, I know when you're playing different teams and different people, you have to make adjustments, but are there certain nuances or things that you try to do, things that you try to kind of make the pillar of your consistent performance in doubles? Is there anything that stays the same, so to speak?
Yeah, so I've been playing with the same girl for doubles this whole entire season. So I think a really big part of doubles is having that connection. You're not going to play a good doubles match with anybody if you don't have some sort of connection because my doubles partner will tell you, I'm moving around the court like crazy. Like one time, we're on the same side. We're not supposed to be on the same side. I just crossed and,
Yeah.
missed the ball or something. And she's got to figure out how to get to the other side so that, we don't have one whole side of the court open. So, like scheming wise, we definitely have some plays that we use to mess with their heads, confuse them a little. Sometimes, hey, it is good if you're on the same side because the people across the net are like, what the hell's going on? Like, where do I hit it? I think that there's definitely a lot of game plays that are specific to you as a doubles team, your skill set. One of the things that me and my doubles partner do a lot is, she's more comfortable at the baseline, I'm more comfortable at the net. So we're just switching around, making sure that we're both kind of in the best position to win. So,
And what can you say? I know you said you've had the same doubles partner throughout the season. How would you describe, like, share with everybody who doesn't know who she is and how you would describe her?
so my doubles partner is Nydia. She's a sophomore here at Bing, so I'm a year older than her. And I think that both of us are very goofy girls. We're playing doubles, there's no like we're never mad at each other. A lot of times, like, sometimes your partner will miss a ball and you're like, oh man, like come on. But kind of we'll both just like laugh it off. We're trying to have a good time while we're playing. We both realize that we both play better tennis when we're having a good time, laughing, not so worried about the score. There'll be times where I'm like, oh my God, Nydia, like, what's the score? Like, I don't even know sometimes because I'm just focusing on the points, which I'm sure my coach doesn't love that, but it definitely helps me.
And looking at this team, we talk about the makeup and having a smaller roster than other sports, and the fact that this is such an international sport. At Binghamton for the Bearcats women's tennis team this season, we have New Jersey, Uruguay, as well as Spain. New York, Marlborough, New York. Of course, you're from Schenectady, New York. We have Garden City, New York. We have Italy, Buenos Aires, Argentina, as well as Spain once again. So to be on a team that has so many pieces of the world, what has that been like for you?
Yeah, I actually love it. I think another great thing about the team is even though we do have some of those girls that are from New York, all of us do have backgrounds in different places, you know. Samantha, one of the girls on the team, she's from New York now, but she also goes to Poland and she speaks Polish. Her family's Polish. I live in New York now. I grew up in Brazil. I speak Portuguese. My family's from there. And Kayla, like, Spanish, like everyone has a different background, and I think that that helps us all. We all eat different food, we all share with each other. A lot of the girls on the team speak Spanish, even if they're not from Spain. But I also can get a little confusing sometimes because then you do have some girls that are Spanish, so they're speaking Spanish a lot, and then you have some other people who have no idea what they're saying. So I think that that can be like a little bit of a barrier here and there, but I think we do a pretty good job making it so that everyone feels good, comfortable, knows what's going on. I think one of the funniest things for us is actually the van rides, the music. Some of the girls want to play Spanish, and the English and the American girls are like, no, we want some English music in here too. So it's just about like a balance.
Well, and so I'm Spanish and Italian, so I speak Spanish, understand some Italian, but speaking of being down in Florida, I used to work at Walt Disney World. And
Yeah.
working at Disney, I worked with a lot of Brazilians, which means that I understand some Portuguese. So I
Yeah.
know you said you speak Portuguese. I know that Spanish, and when you talk about money in Spanish or money in Portuguese, it's similar, but there's things that are totally different. I asked my friend Priscilla to give me a Portuguese word that sounds like a phrase that sounds like beautiful. Now, I want to
Mhm.
preface this by saying I am a romantic. I am not someone who's going to be disrespectful or hurtful in any way, shape, or form when it comes to the world of romance. I said, just as a joke, can you give me a word that I could say to a woman over a candlelit dinner that sounds beautiful but means nothing? So
Yeah.
Priscilla gave me the word geladeira. Now, I said to her, I was like, think about it. I was like, you're at a really nice restaurant, you're outside, you got the moon out, you got candles there, and you reach across the table, you hold her hand, and you say, geladeira. It sounds like I love you. What it
Right.
means is, tell everybody what it means, Lauren.
Like the fridge.
Refrigerator, yes.
Yeah.
So I did learn that word. I
Made
learned,
that up though. I'm sure she had no idea.
yeah. So I was like, I learned geladera, buchecha, the cheek. I've learned a bunch of different things, but yeah, they taught me some stuff. But it's a beautiful language that is so beautiful that refrigerator actually sounds like an exquisite phrase.
Yeah.
Geladera simply means refrigerator.
It
So,
is a very gorgeous language, but it is nice because, like you said, like you can understand some Spanish. Like I do understand them, but some things you're like one of my teammates will come up to me and just start like in Spanish, and I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Give me a second there. And then
uh,
she's like, why don't you get it? It's like the same. I'm like, if I did that to you in Portuguese, you'd be baffled too.
well, and I also know like in Spanish, ice cream's helado, but in your language, I think it's ceviche.
Yeah.
So, and then there's one thing that I learned that's crazy. There's the same word in Spanish and Portuguese, but it means vastly different things. It's embarazado, which in one language means embarrassed, and the other language means pregnant. So the next time your
Gotta be
teammates say,
careful.
yeah, the next time your teammates say, how do you not understand? It's the same. Tell them embarazado, which literally means I can be embarrassed in the moment or I'm trying to tell you that I'm pregnant. Like, I can't imagine that two languages would have a word be so vastly different and understanding the fact that like you're on the same peninsula, right, in Spain and Portugal. And so you could be having conversations with people and use a word like that and completely throw off the entire conversation.
Yeah.
So I do love the fact that for once in my life I could talk to someone about Portuguese and have this conversation on the show and how Spanish and Portuguese is similar but also very different.
Yeah.
speaking of what was similar but now is very different, 2021 to 22, the team went 0 and 22 for women's tennis. The following season, 22-23, the team went 1 and 22. Last season, 23-24, the team went 1 and 19. This season, Loren, y'all are 7 and 11. You've had the best season by far in numerous years. You've more than doubled the win total of the last 3 years combined. Why is Paul Caceres and this staff and this team figuring it out to the tune of having a completely different season?
So I think there's a lot of things that go into this. Kind of like I was telling you before, like our sport is just so mental. And I think in the past years, you went in and none of us thought that we could win. Like realistically, like we were playing these matches and we were playing teams that were just better than us. But it's
Yeah.
not even that they're necessarily better than us. It's just that we didn't think that we could win. We didn't think we were better than the people across the net from us. And I think that this year the mentality has really, really changed. You know, we had some new freshmen come in, but for the most part, we're the same team. And yes, like having a different coach is nice, but at the end of the day, a coach can only do so much. It really is down to the players on the team, you know? The coach isn't the one that's there holding your hand while you're playing. It's just you against your opponents. And I think that as a team overall, our confidence has just really gone up. And I think that we all think that we can win. The couple of matches that we did get during the beginning of the season, I think, put us in a really good position. And I think our schedule this year just was a lot better suited for us. I mean, we had a really good match against Lemoyne both times. We went 1-1 with them. And I think that, you know, getting that conference win was big for us. And just the energy all around has been better. I was actually just talking to the girls the other day about our conference tournament. I was like, what's so different? You know, like why can't we just go out there and like win it? It's we're hitting the same forehands, same backhands as our opponents. We all train the same amount of time. Like it really is a mentality. Like we could go out there and play the best tennis of our lives. All you need is for that person across the net to have a bad day, and you could be beating someone who's, you know, twice the player you are. It really is just so mental, and I think that this year we've had some better team speeches. We've gotten a little bit closer. The energy is just better. We cheering each other on like we never had before. And I think it's great. And I think we can really only go up from here, you know?
Yeah, and what I love about this, like you said, why can't we win it? Why can't we take it this time around? We're getting ready for the championship time, April 14th to the 16th, right? So today, as we sit here amidst all of this on the 15th, taking a look at where things are at. I mean, like you said, why can't this team just go and do it? What makes you believe that your team can do something here in the NEC and have a whole new life in this conference tournament?
Yeah. I think that this year we're all nervous, excited, and you know, I'm a big believer of if you're not nervous, you don't care. I think that, you know, a lot of people are like stressed out, like, oh, like, why am I nervous? Why am I nervous? Like, you should be nervous stepping onto the court, you know? You're gonna be playing this opponent for 2 hours. It's gonna be mentally tough. And if you're nervous, that means you care about the sport. And I think that that's like a big thing for athletes is that sometimes they try to avoid that, but I don't think you should. I think you should be excited to be nervous. And I think that we are all excited to go out there and play some good teams. And you know, I do think we can win. I think that I trust my teammates, and I think that if we all really put our minds to it, like we can at least do better than we did last year. Um, I think that a lot of the girls, like, all it takes is a doubles point and for three girls to lock in and win their match. You know, it's not like we need every single person on that board. We need three girls to win their singles matches and one doubles point. And I think that this year, like, even if we don't win, I think that we can do better and we can set ourselves up for even better next year. You know, it's all about baby steps. I think so far this season maybe hasn't been a baby step. It's been a pretty big step compared to what we have, you know, had in the past. But I think that next year we're going to be in an even better position than this year. We just have to build up that confidence. And I think that does start with this NEC tournament. I'm excited to see what we can do out there, who can win, who's going to step up. That's going to be a big thing to show all the teammates, you know?
Yeah, and let me correct myself here. Last year, 14th to the 16th. This year, the 17th to the 19th. So it'll be happening later on this week. It's at Mercer County Tennis Center in West Windsor, New Jersey. The men won it last year. So have you had a little a little back and forth with them saying, all right, you got it last year, now it's our turn?
Yeah, we definitely joke around with them a bunch. think we're pretty close to the men's team, so we're we're definitely giving it to them this year. Plus, they're going in with all the pressure, you know. I think that they're gonna step up, and I do think that they're gonna get that win again. But I think that, our women's team can kind of give them a little bit of run for their money, maybe match their energy a little bit this year.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, there's been such a giant leap from last season to this season. So you've already done so much, and now you have a time to have an entire new season in the NEC in this tournament coming up later on this week. So with that being said, as we get set for that, what makes you believe in this team right now in this moment and everything you've seen through 18 matches? What makes you believe that Binghamton, in this entirely new opportunity, can take another step?
I think that the biggest thing for us right now, the biggest thing that makes me put my trust in the team is the energy that we've had. We all do want each other to win on the court. Once we step on there, all the other issues, all the personal things going on, like with school, whatever, all the injuries, it kind of just disappears. We want each other to do good. And I think that honestly, like even looking from last year, like we have players who aren't even comparable to how they were last year. I was telling you my doubles partner Nydia and specifically this other girl on the team, Sam, they're sophomores this year. And if you look at their results freshman year, it's like untouched compared to this season. Like, I mean, realistically, like they're playing the best tennis I've seen since they've been here, and nothing has changed. It's the same players, it's just the attitude. And I think that that's why we can do better. And I think that's why we can get even better next year. Now we got the attitude locked in. Now it's about drilling and playing and doing our best in practice and, being willing to put in that extra work in that lift room and stuff. And I think that if we're all like really locked in together, we can do great things next year.
Yeah, I think it's huge, like you said, to see everything that's happening. And like you said, to have the same student athletes, it's just a different mindset. Paul Caceres, your head coach, I know you said the coach can only do so much. It comes down to you guys on the court. But what has he done that has aided this team in having so many positives and transitioning to something better?
I think that with the new coach, I think the biggest thing is that he's just there to support us. There's no like fear. We lose a match, like okay, like he'll just like bring us in and be like, you know what, that's okay, next one. Like we'll get the next one. And he does truly believe that we can win all the matches. We were playing schools, really tough schools earlier on, kind of like some of the best schools in the conference. And he was like, I think you guys can win. And I think that having a coach that, believes that you guys can win really helps. Um, maybe sometimes it's a little bit of a stretch. Sometimes we're playing schools that maybe they are just better than us, but still having that coach saying, like, I think you guys can do this and giving us as much inside scoop as he can really helps. And I think there's a lot of small things that he does do that helps us. I mean, one of his new big kicks is meditation before the matches, just taking a minute to be quiet, sit there, think about the match before you go out on court. And, it seems a little silly, but I think he thinks it helps, and I think that, if we believe that it helps, like it actually could, calm you down a little bit before the match and, just take a second to figure out kind of what the next 3 hours is going to look like for you.
And before we jump into rapid fire and put each other on the hot seat, speaking of coaching, assistant wise, Charlie, the man who told you to pick up a racket when you were 8 years old, also is the man who, when you decided to go to Binghamton, look over on the men's side, and here he is. Thousands of colleges and universities across the country. He ends up at that one, the one that you go to, the one that connects you both once again, and now he's helping the women's tennis team out. What has life been like to see just how small the world is? I call them God incidences, not coincidences, but that the person that was there for you as a child that said, give tennis a shot, is now an assistant coach saying, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for what you're doing. Like he's been here through the whole piece, but to be the one that was there to hand you a racket in the first place, and then to be the one that is trying to help you as a student athlete, as an adult, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it really has been like the crazy experience for me. Like, I genuinely didn't even know that he was here when I first got here. Like I was telling you earlier, like I stepped onto these outdoor courts and I saw him and I was like, I like had no words. I was like, I can't even believe this. I haven't seen him in years. And I think that now, like, he really is my favorite person to talk to about anything tennis related. I know he has my back no matter what. We're really close. Like, he's the number one supporter. The other day, I was actually just talking to him, and he was like telling me how watching me play these matches, I look like a completely different player than I did my freshman year. He was like, it's only been, even last year, like, I'm totally different, you know? Last year, I was in the one position, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I was like, I wish I was playing three. Like, it just, happened to be me playing one because everyone else was injured. And I think that this year I kind of really stepped into it. I've been winning a lot of matches at one. I've won a lot of great matches, even over the past 2 years at one. Um, and I think that Charlie just saying that he's proud of me, like you said, and just like, being there for me and stuff has been really great.
Yeah, it's been absolutely incredible and such a small world to see that. We're going to jump into rapid fire here right now with Loren Cuomo, Bearcat Breakroom, in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University here on Wake Up Call inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Miss Loren, you can ask me anything in the world. It doesn't have to be sports related. It could be anything that you want. Fire when ready.
Oh, okay. Let me think fast. I think if you could have one hidden talent, you could do anything you wanted and be the best at it, what would it be? Sport, anything, be the smartest person on the planet, what would you pick?
Well, I do think I have some hidden talents, so I'm not going to pick those. But I would say I've always like kind of been interested in like the action movies and all that stuff. So I'd love to have the hidden talent of the ability to like pick any lock anywhere. Like
Okay.
I would love to be able to do that, to be like the person that could like get us out of a bind, or something like that. Be able to just, in a movie, just have that guy that's gonna like get you out of jail or something like that. I feel like I would want to be able to pick any lock. Because I tried as a kid to do it. I did like you take the paper clip and you open it up and you try to
I was
figure it
thinking,
out.
have you ever tried? I feel like you could learn how to do that.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I need to learn. I've tried, but I need to learn. My question back to you, Lauren.
Fire with ease, please.
Okay, if you could take on a job in America right now, like you could literally snap your fingers and switch roles with somebody, what like big job would you take on? Like if you could switch lives right now and be the president of something, the CEO of
That was my
something.
first thought. Let me go be the president.
Okay, say it. Go ahead.
I don't know. My first thought was let me just go be the president of the United States of America. I think it would be fun for a little bit. But I think realistically, like, I don't even know what company, but being the CEO of this like huge company where you're wearing like suits and like heels and just like, boss of everyone, I think that's like my dream thing. If I could snap my fingers and be something, it'd be like the CEO of this huge company.
Okay, I love it. Next question for me.
Hmm. Okay. If you could go pro in any sport, what sport would you go pro in?
Basketball, by far. So
Did you
I wanted to be a professional basketball player as a kid. I could still shoot. I still got my game, but I'm 5'8". So yeah, so I would say that's probably, yeah, professional basketball without doubt. I mean, it's something that I dedicate myself to this day. It's just in my brain, and I get this itch of wanting to coach.
Yeah.
I really, like, I genuinely have the itch. Like I was with a school and I was following with them and I was on their bus rides and I was on their sideline, and when other coaches saw me, they thought I was a coach and they're like, "Hey coach, how you doing? Hey coach, this and that." So I got to kind of feel it, and so
Yeah.
there's a part of me that's like, maybe I
Do
should.
it. You could do it.
Yeah,
That's like you could go coach a basketball team.
yeah, yeah. Go tell my man Lavelle. Tell him that he's got to hire somebody else. But my next question for you: if you had to describe yourself as a food dish, what food would describe you, like your personality?
Oh gosh. I feel like as a food dish, that's a tough one. I don't know. I'm so random. Maybe
Okay.
like some sort of like a Chipotle bowl. I don't know. You got like the most like randomest things in there and you mix them up and like it's just perfect. Everyone loves a good Chipotle bowl.
I love it. A Chipotle bowl. Fair enough. I had one recently. So because you can literally put anything in it, your last question for me.
All right, last question. I gotta make it good. Hmm. All right, let me think. If you could have, this is a really random one, but if you could have like one animal in the world to have, like it could be a rare animal, it could be literally anything. What animal would you pick to have?
If I could go back in time, I would have a velociraptor and I would train it
That's a good one.
to be good with me. So, because I said like in the Jurassic World movie when Chris Pratt is like communicating with the raptors and they don't hurt him and he doesn't hurt them and he has like this communication. I wanted there to be like a scene at the end of the movie where I ride up on a velociraptor and I look at Chris Pratt and I go, "Oh, you learned how to talk to him. That's cute." And then I pull the reins and we go off. So
Oh,
I would
good one. I want a dragon too.
okay. And I will say this about my dog Lily. This is crazy. So Lily is a human being. I'm convinced she has a human soul in her dog body, and I had never tried this before. Lily, I was at my friend's apartment during COVID. I was sitting on the floor, and I'm sitting on my floor, or on the floor of his apartment, and I got like my legs open so she can like come toward me and just kind of sit in my lap. So I looked at Lily, and I said, Lily, and from Game of Thrones, when you say Dracarys, that's what makes the dragon spit fire. So I looked right at my dog and I said, Lily, Dracarys. And she was walking and she stopped and she looked at me and she burped. And I was like, oh, she tried to spit fire. I think that's
Oh, poor
incredible.
dog. I've been trying to convince our coaches to get a team dog for forever. They're so not on board.
Yeah. Well, Paul, get these wonderful women a team mascot dog. Let's make it happen. My final question for you. If you took over my show for a day, who would be the three guests you would have on the show and why?
Does it have to be like we do athletes, right?
It could be anything. Could be athletes, could be entertainers, could be anybody.
Hmm. That's a good question. I'd have to do like an actress for sure. Who I
Okay.
would do. That's a tricky one. I'm bad with like names. I feel like an athlete, I'd have to do. I feel like I'd like to chat with like Serena Williams, see what's up in her head. Maybe Maria Sharapova for tennis. I guess those are two tennis players, but I don't like watch tennis that much, surprisingly.
Okay.
And then let's see. Maybe I'd have to do like some sort of like sing. Like I'd want to do like Morgan Wallen would be a good one. Having a chat with like Morgan Wallen across from you or like Chris Stapleton, I think would be a good one.
I like that. Morgan Wallen, Chris Stapleton, Maria Sharapova, a little bit of the tennis love as well. I like it. I respect it. So, with that being said, Loren Cuomo, and on this broadcast and on Wake Up Call in general, I never say goodbye. I say see you because the hope is that we have the opportunity to talk again. Lauren, this has been great to get to know you, to get to see how small the world is with stories like you and Charlie, and to obviously honor this Binghamton women's tennis team as you have all done a tremendous, tremendous job this season. And you should be extremely proud, but I hope you get some more match wins before all is said and done. So, for you and the team, I want to thank you for being a part of this Bearcat Breakroom on Wake Up Call inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It was really nice chatting with you.